Today I'm going to do a review of the Seaside expansion for Dominion, board game. These reviews work because I'm going to give a letter grade to a bunch of different categories. Things that the expansion introduces or emphasizes, some components to compare to other expansions, best cards, worst cards, both in terms of strength and in terms of fun, and some fluff pieces at the end. And we can put them all into a weighted average to compare to other expansions. And so, some context on Seaside. Seaside was the second expansion into Dominion. It was originally released October 2009. Many years later, there was a second edition that was released in June of 2022. Do not look for the first edition stuff. It sucks. If somebody's trying to sell you first edition stuff, they're more likely trying to bypass an embargo or something. Don't participate in that. They're probably doing something terrible. Anyways, get the second edition. It has 27 kingdom cards. There's 2 additional mats for 2 of the cards in it. One's called Native Village, one's called Island. They have their mats that you can put stuff on. Seaside introduces 1 new mechanic. It's durations, and let's get to talking about durations in our single slide for mechanics. Durations, here's a lot of them. Durations are orange. You might be able to tell that. I'm not sure. They definitely look orange here. They say duration on them. The deal with durations is that they have some effect that persists across multiple turns, and so you look at one of these things, we'll take Fishing Village, for example, +2 actions, +1 coin, so it's going to be a village this turn, village. And then at the start of your next turn, +1 action, +1 coin, it's also a village next turn. Caravan, same deal, +1 card, +1 action now, start of your next turn, +1 card, it'll draw a little bit for you. There's also some ones that are a little bit less symmetrical. We look at something like Sailor, +1 action. Once this turn, you gain a direction card, you may play it at the start of your next turn, +2 coins, and be a trashed card from your hand. These are 2 completely different things, but still, it's doing something in the future. And so, the deal with duration cards is that they stay out, in play, until they're done doing anything. And so, take Caravan, for example, you'd play it this turn, and then you would leave it out for next turns to remind yourself at the start of my next turn, +1 card. Durations are a fantastic addition to Dominion. You can see all of them here, but really all of these things, they're fun to play with just because, you get to persist things across turns. I mean, what more could you want? They're things like, we take War, for example. Now you get +2 cards, +1 buy. During your next turn, you get +2 cards, +1 buy again. It gives you an effect on your next turn that can really help with consistency. It can help with whatever. It can be something fun. I'm gonna gain a treasure costing up to 6. Maybe it'll give me an extra turn. There's so many different things that you can do with durations. It's just hard to imagine a Dominion without them. So I'm giving this one an A. All right, looking at some components. Attacks in Seaside. This is grim. Cut Purse is weak, Corsair is weak, Sea Witch is overly strong, Blockade is kind of half attack, half gainer, but it's not a pretty picture. These 2 are kind of really not things that you really like to play with. It's really unpleasant when they're good. When Cut Purse is good, it's preventing me from hitting 5, and it's just going to continue doing this. When Corsair is good, it's because I need to be playing with silver and gold, and Corsair's out, so this is going to suck because, I still have to play with them, and they're going to disappear on me. So even if they're weak, the games that they're strong in are kind of unpleasant. Blockade is pretty fun. It's probably the highlight of these attacks. Sea Witch can be a little bit oppressive, it's overly strong, gives curses way too quickly. So overall, I'm giving these attacks, you do buy some of them, and there are enough of them, so it's getting a C. Draw pieces. I usually talk about quantity over quality on these. In this case, there's 9 of them in an expansion of 27 cards. That is not good ratio. That's 1 out of 3. And then when we consider the quality, it looks even worse. We have some effectively non-drawing villages. we can talk about C chart being a draw card. It's not really. We can talk about tactician being a draw card. It's a little bit rough because it has a limited capability on what you can draw. The other thing of note is that when you have these duration cards that are draw cards, like Caravan, you can think of Caravan as, this is effectively +2 cards, +1 action because, it's neutral here and it's +1 card on my next turn, which is like I just played a laboratory to start out my turn with. But you only get to do that every other turn, so it's actually only really half a laboratory. So this is like not ideal, having a lot of the draw tied up in these durations, just because it really limits the amount of draw. Seaside heavy games are really, really hard to draw, and if there's no Wharf. Wharf draws a ton, but the rest of this stuff, not so much. So, I'm actually going to go down and give this a D. It is so hard to draw in Seaside. Alright, looking at Payload, what are the cool things your deck can do? There's a couple gainers here. This one's not very good, but gold gainers. Smugglers can also be a gold gainer, or it can be a gainer of whatever else, but it is dependent on your opponents, so, questionable there. Outpost is something that gives another turn. This is probably the biggest time Payload card. The cool thing you can do in Seaside is take extra turns with Outpost. These are not great. These three are all slow to get going. You're going to really hope to have something else that's a little bit faster. Outpost is a highlight, so it's not a complete dud, but we're giving this a C- at best. All right, looking at high end strength. Wharf. Wharf is good. Wharf is very, very good. It's very, very good at drawing. It's so good at drawing that people often fail to notice that Seaside doesn't have any draw in it. I do notice. But Wharf is amazing. It's fun to play with. Like, you get good stuff now, you get good stuff next turn. You're never going to have problems if you're going to play Wharf. Sea Witch is the next strongest card. Sea Witch is very strong. Also, unfortunately, it says each other player gains a curse on it, and Sea Witch is very strong, and you can play it a lot easily. That means curses are going to be flying around in that game, and this can really end up snowballing quite a bit, with one player able to play a bunch of Sea Witches if they start playing with them effectively early, and it's not ideal. That said, both of these things are going to lead to games where you buy them. You certainly are going to buy them. They're both very, very good cards. Sea Witch and game probably look a little bit more similar to one another, and so it's a good high end strength, but I'm going to knock it for that. So this is an A-. Low end strength, we have this duration, merchant ship. Now at the start of your turn, plus net turn, +2 coins. Why don't you just get a silver? Treasure map. Trash this in a treasure map from your hand, so you have to put two of these things together. That's hard to do. You get 4 golds onto your deck. Maybe you don't even want that. These are not things that you buy often. They are things that you buy sometimes. Like, it's not so bad that it's like, I'm never going to buy this thing. Like, there are reasons to buy merchant ship. There are reasons to buy treasure map. I'm going to go ahead and give this another C-. Most exciting card, Outpost. Taking extra turns is fun. It really is. Like, it does have this limited, you only draw 3 cards for your next hand, but you have some durations in Seaside. Maybe you have Wharf out. That ends up being a lot more than 3 cards for your next hand, or maybe you just have a good deck and are able to, draw out of 3 cards into a full turn. Like, these are good things that can happen. Taking extra turns is fantastically fun. It's one of these things where you get to just like play more cards because you get to play your whole turn over again. And for that reason, I'm giving this one an A. Most unpleasant. I've said it a lot. It's this Sea Witch card. You get like 2 of these in your deck, and suddenly it can be that you're playing Sea Witch every turn. It can also be that you get 2 of them in your deck and they keep running into each other, and you're only playing 1 Sea Witch for every 3 that your opponent plays, and this can lead to some really, really uneven games for that reason. Dominion does tend to do that a lot. Uneven games are not like the uncommon thing, and so I'm going to say you can't knock it too much for that, but I am going to give this a B-. Alright, theme for Seaside. Well, it's things by the sea. It's by the seaside. There's only a couple cards that are kind of off theme on that, like Bazaar, maybe. Tactician, maybe. In any case, the theme is really strong here. You can't really knock it for that. It's a fun theme. Things by the sea. Artwork. Ships are one of these things that, Dominion artists tend to do a very good job of. I don't know why. Seaside, seascapes, ships tend to be things that they tend to come out pretty nice. So this one's an A for me. The vibe on Seaside is good. Like, it does introduce durations. You do have to give it that. That said, again, you cannot draw in Seaside. Like, aside from Wharf, Wharf is good times, Outpost is good times, some of these other things, Fishing Village is good times, but it is really hard, so I'm only going to give it a B on the vibes. Alright, put it all together, you get a weighted average of 2.68, which is not great. Seaside does still suffer from having quite a few mediocre cards even after the second edition, and again, it's really, really hard to draw with. That's like the thing that I just keep emphasizing. It's really, really hard to draw with. Seaside is often cited as a great first expansion to get, maybe after you have your base set. I happen to strongly disagree with that. But, it's still okay. I just don't think that you should be introducing, brand new players to making it suddenly so hard to draw, their stuff. And so, maybe you don't get Seaside first, but certainly if you're asking yourself later on, should I be buying Seaside? It adds all this stuff, and it's certainly great to play with Wharf, play with Outpost, play with a lot of these durations. Just don't do it first so that you can't draw. Get some more draw in your life before you add Seaside to your collection.